Welcome to the She Lives podcast, a show for women who want to live a happier life while tackling their goals along the way. Want to learn more about what we talked about today? Visit our website, shelivespodcast.com. Now here's your host, Michelle Hancock.
Hey there, how's everybody doing this week? I know there's a lot being thrown at us on a daily basis, and if you're like me, every day is kind of a new day of adventures. You've got the kids at home, you've got maybe your spouse at home, and you're really trying to get into this new normal for you. And I will say that this week for me has been a lot better routine and schedule wise than it was last week. And I think that's because now it's like we have to do this and we're finding out what works for us. But I'm really excited this week to talk to Laura Hernandez with mamasystems.net. I met her at a blogging function many months ago, and she's actually my accountability partner on this podcast. And my goal was to start a podcast, and her goal was to start an online course, which I believe she has done. We're going to talk more about that later, but I'm very excited to have her on because when I thought about homeschooling as a mom that does not homeschool, you were the first person that popped in my head because you've been homeschooling for a while and you have 10 kids. And when I met you at this conference or whatever webinar, no, it wasn't a webinar, it was in person. I'm sorry, my brain's not working. When I met you, you had your baby with you and you were so calm and so even keel. I was like, you are so zen. So I have to get your secrets. I have to find out what's working for you. And enough about me. Please tell us more about yourself and your family and how you are doing this with a smile on your face.
Well, I just love, first of all, I love that this is like the fruition of our accountability situation.
Isn't it?
I kind of forgot about that. And it's just perfect. And once you said you started, I was like, all right, well, we're done with that. But yeah, this is perfect. My husband and I, we live in Parker, which is kind of the Dallas area, and we do have 10 kids, and 3 of those are adopted, and 7 are biological. And our 3 that are adopted are also special needs little buddies, and so they actually go to public school, and we normally homeschool the rest of them. I kind of both camps of, like, I absolutely love homeschooling with all my heart because I get to be with my kids and I get to learn alongside them. And I feel like I've totally redeemed my education. And at the same time, if you have people that are like rolling your eyes and thinking, I can't even listen to her because she loves homeschooling so much. At the exact same time, my 3 special buddies that are normally in school, this is like so chaotic that they're here and I don't love homeschooling them. And I want school to start back up so bad that I just can't even contain myself because I can't do it. So I feel like I have both extremes. And I understand both extremes of like not wanting your children home as well. So
that's a good way to look at it. I didn't realize that you were doing both. So you really are wearing a lot of hats right now, for sure.
Yes.
So what are the age ranges of the children?
Our oldest just turned 14 last week, and our youngest is 8 months.
Okay. So how are they handling this new normal? Did you guys have a family meeting or how did you say, hey, this is what we're doing now? And I'm sure for those that have the special needs, correct me if I'm wrong, but do they thrive off of knowing what's ahead and routines? Was this kind of like a big deal for them?
Yes. And no, all at the same time, because we left school with our spring break in hand and we went to Florida and did that whole thing. And then when we came back, it was like, okay, no more school. So I'm not sure that they really understand what's going on. Despite explaining it, I'm not sure how much we're really gathering.
Yeah.
And comprehending, with our other people, we have kind of sat down and because they as well think we just had spring break and now there's no more school. And so therefore we're not doing schoolwork, which I don't know why that's an assumption, but it is. And so we've had to sit down and be like, okay, we're not done with school yet. We've got to finish these things and finish out the year. It's just going to look different. And so I think last week was really chaotic and really like, are we really doing this? But then this week has become more of okay, this is our new normal. These guys are going to be schooling here. These guys are going to be schooling here and just coming up with routines and systems for everyone. So
yeah, I do think you're right. Last week was very, very challenging. And I think as we were all kind of like in shock a little bit.
Yes.
I've seen an article going around online, and it's about how we're feeling, and it's similar to grief. I know for me,
Yes.
some days I'm like, oh, this is exciting. Like, I'm in denial about this. We're all at home and it's going to be great. And then the next day you're like, oh, okay, well, maybe this is kind of sad because I had all these plans and my kids had all these plans. And now, I mean, it is a roller coaster of emotion. How are you handling that? And especially with your spouse, are you guys delegating? I guess my question is, how are you not losing it in your house and going chaotic?
That's a great question. Because I definitely have moments of like, I do. I feel like it's a pendulum of going to be like, oh, we're all home together. Like we could really use this time to build our family and love each other well and, work on some good, whatever. It's like a Pollyanna moment. And then it switches over to like, this is going to be like the Great Depression and we need to start gardening and buy a cow and milk things. And like, just kind of, I feel like I'm just going back and forth from the pendulum.
It is like a game of ping pong,
It is.
And that's
so I
funny.
go from being really panicky to like,
well,
everything's wonderful and great.
That makes me feel better because I think some moms or humans in general are like, well, is everyone else feeling this way? Or am I weird for feeling like this? I mean, everyone else seems okay, but then this lady seems like she's losing it. Where should I be? And I don't think there's a real good answer for how you should be. I think you should just like work through your feelings and definitely communicate with your spouse. I know I finally had to communicate with my spouse last week. Like, he's not used to working from home. I've worked from home for many years. I had to give him some grace on his first day because he was kind of freaking out. Not to put him on blast here, but, but we finally were like, listen, this is not normal. So we're just going to have to communicate more and really delegate and be each other's teammate, I guess. But it's hard. But and we keep saying new normal, but it kind of is, I don't see this going away anytime soon, unfortunately. So I'm trying to be positive about that. But yeah, I guess that's my other question is, how are you staying positive when you find yourself getting into that dark place?
I know this sounds really silly, but I will often compare parenting to like past parenting. And what I mean, this is the part that sounds silly. So I keep thinking about the Great Depression, and I know this is not positive, but I think about that generation of people and how they came out and the good qualities that came out of them. And I kind of think if this really is, because when you go to that dim and gloom place, I think the only thing that I can think of is like, how can this generation come out in such a better place because of this huge worldwide experience that everyone is having? And what good qualities are going to come out of our kids because of that? So all that to say, I keep just trying to think of like, how are we going to make this experience great for our kids, where it's going to change them for the better, where they look back at our family, they look back at this time in history and think that was really good for us. And these are the things I learned. And this is how I grew as a person.
Oh,
Does that make sense?
No, that makes perfect sense. And I think, where we are seeing negatives, their little minds are probably seeing a little bit more. They may not realize it right now, but they're getting more time with us. They're going outside more. I know we've gone on more walks lately when the weather's great. I mean, it is weird. It's kind of like you're going back to basics, really. And we don't need all these distractions to keep us entertained all the time, which is kind of sad. And I mean, I do love, I won't lie. I do love getting out and doing field trips and doing things like that with the kids for a change of pace, but it's really forcing us to simplify our lives. And I know like ration, don't waste as much. I mean, these all sound like negative things, but my granddad, if he were still alive, he would be like, I told you. No, I'm just kidding. But this is how I live back
rationing. My husband has like pulled all the toilet paper in the whole house and brought it into our room because, I mean, we have a lot of people. And so we haven't bought toilet paper since the whole hoarding situation.
Oh, goodness. We need to start a GoFundMe account for you.
Well, it's simply like we go to the store and there's no toilet paper, right? So he brought it all into our room. It's like, we have to ration this out because I don't know when we're going to be able to buy toilet paper again. And that's what I'm like, yeah, our grandparents would be so understanding of this whole situation. Like, this is the good thing that came out of them, is not wasting. And I keep lecturing kids about milk and toilet paper and all these things. So you can't do that.
I know. It's like, what world are we living in right now? But this is it. I mean, it is crazy to think of that we're having to hoard toilet paper or, ration it and stuff. And You shouldn't. Well, let me rephrase that. You shouldn't be hoarding toilet paper. I know there's some people that went and bought like 5. Finally, they're restricting how many you can order or buy.
Yes.
Thank God. But it's just like, it's crazy. But somebody put it, that's anxiety in action. I mean, when people are hoarding toilet paper, that's their anxiety and their coping mechanism or something like that. And I was like, well, they need to be sharing that with their neighbors. I sure hope they are.
Yes, I agree.
Well, I guess my other question for you is, you have been homeschooling for a while, and what do you find works best for your family? What would you tell a mom that has never been, I had teaching background a little bit. I taught preschool, so I kind of had that in my toolbox, but there's some moms that this is not their wheelhouse. Do you have any advice or tips to make homeschooling smoother?
I do. And I actually put out a free resource of just kind of walking through for my online course. I have a homeschool section. And so I put that out for free for people so that they could go watch that and just kind of bring an order to their day. But I'm going to share a few of those things with you right now. I think first and foremost, knowing that your school at home is going to look nothing like school at public school. Like it's not going to be from 9 to 3, sitting down and working the whole time. It's just not. So really honing in on the 3 things that are important to you. And if you get done more stuff than the 3 things, that's awesome. But just knowing, hey, these 3 things are important to our family. So I want my kids reading, and I want them doing math, and I want them doing handwriting. And so those are our first 3 things that they are supposed to do every day. And after that, I would like them to do some other things. They have a whole checklist and we have that all planned out. But I know that for a lot of families, things just kind of go crazy in the afternoons and things go awry and you can't be completely in control of your day. And so just knowing those 3 things and making sure those 3 things get done so you feel accomplished if those 3 things are done is like my biggest tip of just focus on those 3 things. Because I know our teachers are sending out so much stuff. I mean, oh my goodness. So I'm getting emails from every kid's co-op person, and they're all in 2 co-ops. And so all those emails for all the kids. And then also for our 3 public school people, they have all their main teachers and then also their special ed teachers. And so I'm getting emails from all of those people every day about all the things that they should or should not be doing. And it's just too much. Like I'm pretty good at giving myself permission of like, you know what, they're learning a ton just by reading with us and playing outside. And I mean, they're little buddies. They're like kindergarten, 1st grade, right? So we're not talking about high school physics here. So just kind of releasing myself from some of those pressures of following the schedule that they've put out. And there might be some public school teachers listening that are hating me right now, but
well, I think it's balance. I think the teachers probably also have to follow what their administration is giving them. So
that's what I'm making up.
Yeah, but our teachers, my daughter's in 1st grade, and they've been pretty good about the amount of work. And, some is optional, some is mandatory. But there are other districts that have tons of, and I can imagine if you have more than 1 kid. I only have 1 kid that's, my son's in preschool, so he doesn't really count right now. But but I can imagine having multiple kids in different grades. That's a lot, and you're trying to work from home, you're trying to homeschool. I mean, there is a lot on your plate. So I guess my question is, are you finding any time for you, or no, you're just trying to survive right now?
Yes to both.
Okay.
I feel like my brain is kind of going to explode at any moment. And a lot of that is just all the information, all the different people trying to communicate about all the different things. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, we have a babysitter who is only coming to our house and then only going back to our apartment. And so she's been staying on board with us. And so I feel like we're in this together. Along with my husband, it takes a team of people. And that's one of the main things I try to work with mamas with, is letting them know that they can't do it all themselves and delegate out as much as they can. And so Mary has been our non-negotiable. So she's still coming to help. And
good.
I'm getting to kind of escape back to my room and do things like this podcast. So,
perfect. Well, that's good. So legally, are you guys okay? No, I'm kidding. I saw a meme. Somebody posted they homeschool. They have a large family. They're like, man, if this number gets any lower, I don't know about gatherings of 10.
No, well, we're not legal then,
Oh,
you know?
well, that's silly though. Y'all are all together. So I just thought it was funny.
Yeah.
And I do think that humor is good for coping as well. I know there's some pretty lighthearted memes out there that have kept me going. So, and some silly Netflix shows that are just, that's what I do at night is I watch something that has nothing to do with the coronavirus, because I was reading news right before I went to bed and that would just amp up my anxiety. And I was like, why am I doing this? Like, just stop,
Yes.
So that's one of my tips is just limit your exposure to the news media right now, because it'll just get your head in it.
Yeah. My husband and I have been watching Netflix. Maybe it's not even Netflix. We got a list of like good documentary kind of movies from somebody. And so we just watched McMillions, and we're in the middle of watching OJ Made in America. And I am kind of obsessed with these things. So it's something fun to I'm excited about watching it at night, and I don't know.
You have something to look forward to, and McMillions is good. I watched that one last weekend.
That
was shocking. It was a true story. I mean, I kind of remember it happening when I was younger, but nothing like that. It's on HBO, FYI, if anybody wants to watch that.
It's so good.
Do you have any favorite kids activities right now that once you're done with the academics, are you guys doing anything? What do your kids like to do right now?
As of yesterday, I just purchased a blow up pool from Amazon. And
so did I. Oh my God. I conned the grandparents into getting this huge inflatable slide because my kids' birthdays are in May and July. I was like, well, we may not have a birthday party, so maybe they bought a huge slide for them. I'm
love that.
Thank you. So that's funny you did that.
I keep thinking, I just keep thinking of all these. I'm like, I'm totally throwing money at the problem here, but I need them distracted and I need them having fun together and not arguing over whatever.
You probably would have spent that money if you went on a field trip somewhere anyway. So that's my reasoning. I don't know if that's a good bargain.
Very true.
But yeah, that's so backyard activities are really great right now. Lots of arts and crafts I've seen. Parents are getting really creative, and kids. And I will say, I've learned so much from my daughter just watching her do she's pretty self-sufficient for the most part on her lessons, but every now and then she'll ask me for help, and it's been an eye-opener for me. I think we have really taken for granted, or I know I've taken for granted how much our school does for my kids. I'm like, thank you. You need raises. So thank you. If anyone listening wants to take it one step further and get your resources, let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So I put together kind of a homeschool page that has kind of a video that talks through, as I said, it's out of my master course. So it's just kind of walking you through how to plan out your homeschool day. And again, that's not necessarily for people who are getting lesson plans from school. Does that make sense?
Yeah. But do you think that they could take some of your strategies and
for sure.
If they want, like I said, some of the days we're getting a lot of work and some we're not. So I think your stuff could supplement rather what they're sending as well.
Yeah. So it's definitely more just like structuring your day of hey, morning time is a great time to sit down and try to plow through as much as you can. And I mean, silly things like that. But if you've never homeschooled before, or if you don't have a system for homeschooling, then it's an amazing resource. I also have on there a schedule, and we are not huge schedule followers. However, I do find that creating a schedule for your family helps you get into a rhythm and a routine. And we are all about the rhythm and routine. So it's not necessarily like at 11 o'clock we do X every day. And, but I do love having set times where we get together for certain things. So we have alarms go off on Alexa throughout the day for different things. So at 5 o'clock, we'll have an alarm go off for afternoon jobs, and everybody comes in and does all their jobs and all get dinner ready. And then we sit down and eat dinner together. So it's just little things like that help anchor your day. And I feel like so much of this time right here in this COVID-19 situation feels like I was on bed rest with one of my kids for 10 weeks at the hospital. And it feels so much like that to me, just where all the days run together. You're not really sure what day it is or what time it is or what you're supposed to be doing. So I just find that having those alarms set and having that rhythm helps so much with keeping you sane.
That's a great idea. I just got an Alexa, so I know I'm late to the game, but it's life-changing so far. So that's a great idea to tell her, to tell you to get to this. The afternoon jobs, can you talk a little bit about that? Because I think a lot of the chaos in our house comes from me starting to get a little resentful that nobody is doing their chores or they're picking up after themselves and all this. I'm just going on a rampage now. Sorry. But so what kind of jobs are you giving your kid?
It depends on the kid. So I love to have morning jobs and afternoon jobs. Okay. So we're just going to break it down with those two right now. And morning jobs are a lot of just roommate responsibilities for your kids. So brushing your teeth, eating breakfast, putting your pajamas away. If they wear pull-ups, putting their pull-up in the trash. These are all, I mean, hopefully your children won't be wearing pull-ups when they go off to college.
God, I hope not.
Some of them, I'm like, I don't know. They might be. I don't know. Anyway.
No, so do you have these on? No, I'm envisioning. Do you have these on a whiteboard, or do you print them out, or do they just know what they're supposed to do?
Yeah, so I create charts. This is one of the things I do with my mamas as well, is I'll create charts for each kid so that it's very clear. And I use it as kind of a contract for them of like, hey, this is what's expected of you. And if you don't follow through on your end, then we have popsicle sticks as our consequence. So they have to go get a stick, and the popsicle sticks each have a job on them. Morning jobs are all about like responsibilities, taking care of yourself, hygiene, all that jazz. But then also probably, especially with my people that are home, and now everybody's home, it's an extra job or two. So for us, it's watering plants, feeding chickens, unloading dishwasher, things like that, that it just kind of help get the day started at a good space, right? And then afternoon jobs are all the things that we need to prep for tomorrow. So if people have school, getting lunches ready, getting backpacks ready, laying out clothes, things like that, and then prepping for dinner. And then everybody has a zone that they're in charge of. And I love to just keep it simple and keep it the same. So that way it's less thinking on my part. And I'm not trying to remember who's in charge of cleaning up the living room today or anything like that. It's very every day. I know Noah is in charge of cleaning up the living room and picking up all the stuff. So if I go in there, it's not picked up, I know who's in trouble and what they're going to be doing.
I love the idea of zones. That's so smart. I didn't even think of that. See, I'm learning so much from you just now. I'm going to go bust out the popsicle sticks.
Good.
That's a good visual too. Cause then they're like, oh no, I don't want one of those popsicle sticks. I might do you give some of those to your husband as well?
That's not a bad idea though.
Yeah, definitely. My husband's doing pretty well on stuff. He's better at yard work and outdoor stuff and cleaning, and I'm more of the pickup stuff, but we're learning a lot about each other right now, which is fun. I'm like, oh, are we going to make this?
You will.
But we just love to make jokes about it, and it's funny. But I think we just need to try to stay positive. It's really hard to sometimes, but it's okay to also have those stressful moments because we are here.
Yes.
Okay. Are you doing anything? Do you have time for your girlfriends or friends or family? Like, do you have older family members that you're checking in on? Do you get the kids involved on that?
I mean, older. I feel old thinking about that.
But like grandparent, do you guys have any grandparents?
Yeah. So my parents and then his mom. So we're calling him and checking in on him. I don't think the kids, like my older kids, kind of understand what's going on, but everybody else doesn't really understand the extent of all of this, right?
Yeah, and that's a good question. How much should we be telling our kids? Because I think my daughter's 6 and she just knows, hey, there's a virus and, we just can't be out there right now. And once it's over, we'll go back to having fun again or whatever, But I'm just curious, what should we be telling our kids? Should we tell them everything or no?
I have not been.
I don't want to freak them out.
I needed to freak them out about the toilet paper. I pulled up a picture on my phone. I was like, do you see this? There's no toilet paper left. You cannot use a lot of toilet paper. So I think
toilet paper, that's a good excuse. My daughter came downstairs and she started to wrap herself as a mummy with the toilet paper. I almost had a heart attack. I was like, and she was probably like, what is the big deal? I'm like, God. So I'm with you on the toilet paper. We need to share them on that. That's hilarious.
Yeah. So we've just been telling our kids to just wash their hands extra for an extra long time, like saying happy birthday while you wash your hands and telling them that germs and viruses and everybody's sick right now and whatever. So that's why we're not going to school, and telling them everything is closed down. That's why we can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
But I don't think that we haven't gone into the people are dying.
Yeah. I
just
think
all the details. I don't think that would be beneficial at all.
No, I think if you had a high schooler or college student, that's a whole different ball game, especially for these poor seniors. I mean, goodness, they're having to miss a lot, which breaks my heart. But hopefully they can do something after this is all said and done. But it still stinks for them. Stinks for all of us. Let's be real. It's crappy. It's okay to just be upset about the whole situation because it is crappy. I never realized how many first world problems I had until this. It's almost funny. It's like, well, there goes my pedicure, my toes, my hair color. Okay. But yeah, so we're going to see what everybody looks like at the end of this, and it'll be interesting. So yeah, how are you? I mean, you're naturally beautiful, so you don't have to worry about that. But some people are going to come out looking a lot different after this.
It'll be entertaining.
Yes. What is your best advice to parents right now?
Oh, I think just to be kind with yourself and give yourself permission to have hard days and give yourself permission to not do all of the work that is sent home with you. I think just extra grace is so needed right now. I take it a step further and think of how I would talk to a girlfriend, because what you asked the question about talking with people earlier. Do we need to say out loud that everybody needs the app of Marco Polo?
I do not have that app, but I
don't have that app. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, you need this.
Tell me about this.
I'm sorry to completely jump topics here, but my girlfriends and I, that's how we keep in touch. And it's like a video app. It's kind of like FaceTime, but you both don't have to be present at the same time. So I could leave you a video message and they respond whenever they can respond. And it's how I communicate with all my clients and everything. And it's so great. It's so great because you feel like you're still hanging out with people.
I think I had this 2 years ago, but my son was a little bitty baby. So I had mom brain. And I remember it being hilarious. I just never got around to it. But now I have plenty of time. So yes, I know. So I will set that up. That's a good idea. Marco Polo. Yes. Everybody remember that. Are there any other fun technology or resources, books, podcasts you're listening to help you cope?
Oh, another thing that I'm loving is Storyline Online.
Ooh, okay.
It is, here's the deal, Michelle. I really value reading, and I really think that we need to be reading with our children. And clearly, the research, huge, right? But sometimes I just don't want to read with my children. And sometimes I just would rather them watch a show. But I know the value of reading, right? So this, I feel like, is the perfect thing because it's on the TV or it's on YouTube, and it's different. It's like with the Screen Actors Guild Award, something. I don't know, SAG, the SAG group. So it's all these different actors reading stories, and they kind of have the stories animated just a smidge, but it still feels like they're being read to. And I don't know, It's been life-giving to me because I could step away, but they're still getting books read to them, and that feels amazing. So
perfect. I mean, can you imagine if we went through this back in the day? I mean, we are so blessed to have so many resources. The cyber world, while it has its negative problems, it also has a lot of positives. And social media has brought us together. I mean, it's thank God for all this, or we'd really be going stir crazy.
I know. I'm so with you.
We need to count our blessings on that part. I think we've covered most of what we wanted to talk about. And like I said, every day is different, but yet it's the same, if that makes sense. I feel like I'm listening to the damage report every morning I get up. I'm like, so what's going to be today? But
what else is going to be closed?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just trying to take it one day at a time, because if I start really thinking about the whole big picture, then that's where my anxiety starts hitting. But I think we're going to look back on this time and be like, wow, it was tough, but like you said, a lot of positives are going to come from it too. Well, where can we follow you? Where can our listeners find out more and follow more of your behind the scenes fun?
Yeah, mamasystems.net is my website, and then Mama Systems on Instagram and Mama Systems on Facebook. It's pretty easy.
Yeah, I like how you have it all the same across all the platforms. That makes my life easier to find you. So thank you for that.
Well, you're so welcome.
Well, I know that you have a lot going on. So thank you so much for taking an hour out of your day for this. I think a lot of moms will find this very beneficial. I know I did. I've already got my wheels turning on the afternoon and the morning jobs and the popsicle sticks. That's what I got out of it.
Yes. And Michelle, I really have that little workbook down at the bottom of my website. Just go grab that and it'll walk you through how to create all of that and help you think through what they need to be doing.
And I'm going to put that on our show notes, which is going to be over at shelivespodcast.com. So you don't have to really, scour the internet. I'll put all that right there for you, and go give her a follow and say hello. And that's all I have for today, but I'm sure we'll have you back on again and we'll talking about, what it's like to socialize with people in person again. I started watching TV the other day and I found myself going, oh, wow, is this? Oh, good. It's previously recorded. Okay. Because they are not 6 feet apart. All right. So it's kind of weird.
That's really funny.
But thank you for giving me a break in the day to socialize with another human being that is not a child. So thank you for that.
You're so welcome.
All right. Well, you have a great rest of your day and we'll talk soon.
I will. You as well.
Okay.
Bye, Michelle.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to today's show. Make sure to visit our website, shelivespodcast.com, where you can subscribe to never miss a show. Find us on social at She Lives Podcast. While you're at it, if you loved today's episode, please take a moment to share with your friends and family and leave us a 5-star rating on iTunes. Talk soon.